We're in the chat room again, so it's shout-out time! Hi! Let's see who's in the chat room tonight watching me film this video. We have Zaran Izarak again. God, that guy just can't get enough of me. Austin Det 313, Chrome Ghost 219, Epic Conspiracy, Eternal Fire 1244, Futuristic Artist, Jeffrey Wild, J-Star 305, Kratos Fan, Metal Fan 50, Mithronese, Patrick Butler 1981, Silent Joe, Skin Slip, Stout Man, Stratomaster 78, and You Know That Guy. And a special honorable mention to Godzilla X-Man, aka Ultraman 52, because he was basically here all night waiting for me to film, and first I think his computer crashed and he missed the first one, and then he came back and got tired before we started filming this one, so this one's for you, buddy. Godzilla X-Man, also known as Ultraman 52. Check out his YouTube page. And the obligatory webcam shots. Austin Det 313, J-Star 305, looks like he passed out. You Know That Guy, rocking out. Kratos Fan, picking his nose. And Chrome Ghost 219, looking well lit. And Eternal Fire 1244, he has a beard. And a special late hello shout out to Bookhouse Boy 77, who just wandered into the room while I was setting up the display behind me. Okay, so carrying on with the Blu-ray updates, what are we going to talk about today? Well, as you know, I'm a huge sci-fi fan. This is just a sampling of my sci-fi collection behind me. In particular, I'm really a big fan of the classic sci-fi stuff, you know, like going back to the 50s and 60s. Really a period of staggering innovation, creativity, and completely wild speculation that was often totally wrong, but very entertaining. So recently they released two of the big granddaddies of them all from this creative era of speculative fiction on Blu-ray. Are they any good? I mean, they're older movies, and how good can older movies be, right? Well, let's find out today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. Okie dokie, where to begin? Well, how about we start with one that got a remake recently, and I suspect it was primarily due to the remake that we got the original on Blu-ray. This is the one good thing about remakes, because when they do remakes and reboots and revivals and reimaginings and re-this and re-that, we tend to get the originals in beautiful quality Blu-rays. Not always, but most of the time. And this is one of those cases. I could give a shit about the remake. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if I ever see it. Because the original is just such a masterpiece of science fiction. I am, of course, talking about Klaatu Barada Nikto, The Day the Earth Stood Still. The original, in beautiful black and white, and without Keanu Reeves anywhere to be seen. Now, interesting little side note here, this of course was released as a cross-promotion with the big-budget Hollywood remake that came out a little while ago. And included on this Blu-ray edition is, I think, something like a 9-minute long preview of the remake to try to entice you. And there's aspects of it that look interesting. I mean, I think Keanu Reeves, honestly, was pretty well cast as the character of Klaatu and everything, but, you know, the thing that works well about this versus the remake is kind of similar to what I feel worked really well about the original of The Haunting versus the remake. The original Haunting was an exercise in subtlety. It left a lot to the imagination and speculation of the viewer. Just like The Day the Earth Stood Still. The Day the Earth Stood Still is a very subtle, intellectual, speculative science fiction film. There's really not a lot of slam-bang special effects in this. Oh yeah, there's a few. And considering when this was made, the few effects that are in this actually still hold up pretty damn well, I gotta say. But the thing that made this movie work was not the slam-bang special effects. They were just kind of a little bit of icing on the cake. And as I say, there isn't that many of them. What makes it work is the story and the characters and the sort of thought-provoking social commentary that it makes and stuff. I mean, this is a really smart film. I mean, a lot of it is very conversation-driven and just kind of, you know, it's about the interplay between the characters. I mean, the character of Klaatu, I mean, he looks human. He interacts with humans, and he's essentially there just getting to know humans as a race. I mean, he has this big thing that he wants to announce to everybody in the world. And, of course, the U.S. gets their hands on it. It's like, well, why don't you tell us first? And he's like, no, I can't tell you because I need to tell everybody. You need to gather all your leaders together so I can give them this important message. I mean, he's basically an alien visitor who shows up, and he comes on a mission of peace. And, of course, the U.S. being the U.S., they shoot him as soon as he steps foot outside his spaceship, trying to deliver a message of peace to the people of Earth. Yeah. But, I mean, it's not like they shoot him and then it triggers a massive intergalactic war. No. They shoot him, and he knows that it was a mistake. I mean, Klaatu is not just a soldier on a mission to destroy us all, like you see in so many other movies. No. He's here on a mission of peace, and he understands that it was, you know, man just acting out of fear of the unknown. He understands that. And they talk it out, and everything's cool. You know, they take care of him, he gets better, and everything's cool. So, you know, the U.S. sends representatives to talk to him, and they're trying to get him to tell him what this big message is. But he's like, no, I need to speak to all of your leaders at once. And they say, well, that's going to be next to impossible to do. I mean, to gather all the leaders of the world together in one place, I mean, that just can't be done. So part of it is him trying to get his message out to everybody in the world, but also at the same time, he spends time just going out and meeting common everyday people and talking to them and getting to know them. It's just a very simple, well-crafted story. You know what this made me think of, actually? This whole thing made me think of the Twilight Zone, like the original 50s Twilight Zone series, which I guess would have been around the same era. This actually predates the Twilight Zone by a few years. But the whole thing essentially plays out like an extended Twilight Zone episode. I mean, you could easily see this as a Twilight Zone episode. It very much has that vibe to it. Very simple, low-key, but deep and thought-provoking. And staggeringly entertaining all at the same time. So when I saw the trailers and everything for the remake, I was just like, way to completely miss the point, guys. Yeah, let's turn this into a slam-bang special effects extravaganza where the aliens do invade Earth and Gort is fucking 8 million feet tall, laying waste to all civilization, because that's what it's all about. Yeah, sure, in the original, Gort has his unstoppable killing machine moment towards the end, but it's very brief. And again, it's a misunderstanding that is quickly cleared up. It doesn't trigger a frickin' balls-to-the-wall invasion of Earth. No. The thing that works really well about this is that all the characters behave quite rationally. You know, as if this was an actual situation. They behave in ways that you would expect normal, rational-thinking people to behave. But it has both sides of the coin. It has a few people that behave irrationally, but it's a perfectly understandable, justifiable reaction to the situation of that moment. But the majority of the people act rationally. They talk things out, they figure things out, they realize when something's a mistake, and they deal with it. And that's what's so beautiful about this film, what we don't see in a lot of science fiction films. It's always the misunderstanding that gets blown out of all proportion and triggers an intergalactic war of ridiculous proportions. That's not what happens in this. It's just very smart, well written, and beautifully acted, and I cannot possibly recommend it highly enough. If you are a serious science fiction fan, the original Day the Earth Stood Still is absolutely 100% must viewing. I should mention, one of the things that Day the Earth Stood Still is often remembered for is its musical score. It was one of the earliest major uses of the theremin, which is this really cool instrument which basically uses an electrical field that you move your fingers into, and as you move your fingers into the electrical field, it creates different sounds. So this was one of the first times that the theremin was used extensively as part of a film score. and it's used very effectively. It really creates this eerie kind of sound. I mean, you hear it and you recognize the type of sound because it was used countless times since, but this was one of the first times, so it was not a stereotype or a cliche at this time. This is the movie that made it a stereotype and cliche because it was used so well here, everybody and their dog wanted to use it anytime they did an alien invasion movie or something. I should mention also that the score was done by Bernard Herrmann again. Yes, I just seem to be on this Bernard Herrmann fest lately. It's awesome. And again, like, you know, Jason the Argonauts, Psycho, this is again a landmark, amazing, unique score that you'll probably never forget, and it's just beautiful. And the reason I mention this, A, is because it's awesome, and B, because a lot of the special features focus on the music. So let's take a look at what we have here for the special features. Blu-ray exclusives, interactive theremin, create your own score, and Gort Command, interactive game. Now this is a good example of them finally beginning to use BD Java, the full programming language that Blu-ray offers, to do like proper interactive things. Gort Command is just a fun little first-person shooter where you're basically seeing through the visor of Gort and you have to shoot soldiers and stuff, and it's kind of like Lethal Enforcers, you know, that old arcade game where you'd be shooting bad guys and stuff. It's kind of like that, except you're shooting the army guys. And then the interactive theremin is like you get pieces of theremin score that you can put into a music thing and actually make your own little theremin thing. So that's pretty cool. It's not as much fun as playing with an actual theremin, but I guess it's about as close as you can get on a Blu-ray. But these are like proper interactive features. It's not like on DVD where it would just be like you'd select one thing and it would lead to another video sequence and another video sequence, and it's all just kind of elaborately interwoven video sequences. This is actually properly interactive, like a game. There was actually one on one of the Rob Zombie ones, I think it was House of a Thousand Corpses, had an actual proper interactive game there as well, and it was all done with BD Java, and it was very cool. So it's like a proper little video game. Then we got commentary by director Robert Wise and Nicholas Meyer, which is kind of interesting because Robert Wise directed Star Trek The Motion Picture and Nicholas Meyer directed Star Trek II The Wrath of Khan. So all new commentary by film and music historians John Morgan, Stephen Smith, William Stromberg, and Nick Redman. See, another focus on the music. Isolated score track. All new featurettes, including The Mysterious Melodious Theremin, main title Live Performance by Peter Pringle, The Making of the Day the Earth Stood Still, Decoding Klaatu Barada Nikto, Science Fiction as Metaphor, A Brief History of Flying Saucers, The Astounding Harry Bates, Edmund North, The Man Who Made the Earth Stand Still, Race to Oblivion documentary short, Farewell to the Master, a reading by Jamieson K. Price of the original Harry Bates short story. This was based on a short story originally. Fox Movie to News. I always read that as Movie Tone News, but it's not. It's Fox Movie to News. Okay, some Fox, way old, like 20th Century Fox newsreel about it. And finally, trailers, interactive press book, and still galleries. This is an absolutely loaded set. I mean, it is just beautiful. Needless to say, it is a 50 gig dual layer disc. Let's take a look at some of the specs here. You got English 5.1 DTS HD master audio. Now, if you're also a purist and want to hear it in the original mono, they also include the original mono. Not too shabby. And they got Spanish 5.1 Dolby Digital and Francais Dolby Numérique 5.1. And it's subtitled in English, Spanish, Cantonese, and Mandarin. It is closed captioned and uses the AVC codec at an average of 26 megabits per second, which is pretty nice. And it is in the original full frame 1.33 to 1 or 4:3 aspect ratio. You have to understand, widescreen didn't really start to be used commonly until the later 50s and more into the 60s. So this was still in the full frame aspect ratio era. So it is, of course, pillar boxed on the sides. So I guess we'll just give you a quick look at the inside here. Let's turn the disc around a bit. So there we got the disc. And there is no interior artwork. And then the only insert we have is a little blurb about some other Blu-ray titles from Fox. So that's that. In terms of the transfer quality, it looked great to me. I saw no flaws at all. I mean, from an old 50s movie in black and white, It's beautiful. I mean, they obviously did a new transfer for it, and it looks great. This is one that I meant to pick up on DVD for years. I just never got around to it, so I'm actually really glad I waited, because this is the deluxe edition that this film deserves. I mean, this has been considered a classic science fiction film forever, basically, and pretty much on the must-watch list for science fiction fans everywhere. So, The Day the Earth Stood Still, the original. Get it, watch it, love it, and that's pretty much all I have to say about it. Alrighty. That is it for me to you for now. Sorry we didn't get to the second one, but the second one's pretty loaded as well, and you'll just have to wait until next time to find out what it is. So until then, thanks for watching, and sayonara.